This video is to assist you with your Excel project 1.3. So once I'm in the course itself, I'm going to go into my group, which is labeled Projects Excel. Once I enter into that, I'm going to access my Excel project 1.3. Now, I'm just going to start off with, just know below is your set of instructions that you can follow along. And then also, if you click on your start file, it'll populate at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If it doesn't, just know it went directly to your downloads folder in your computer. You want to get it up and running and click on Enable Editing. Once you do that, it's now in editing mode, but you first need to go to File, Save As, and click on Browse, and you can just take it to wherever you want. You can even take it to your downloads folder. It's up to you. But I would just rename that so you understand which one you're working on. So I would rename it as Project, or even start with E or Excel Project 1.3. So you can easily identify which one you're working on. So you never want to edit your start file. You just want to use the start file that you can then rename and then edit it. So I'm going to click on Save. So now that I already went through a file, Save As, and I gave it a name and location, moving forward, any change I make, all I need to do is click on Save. And up here in the left-hand corner, there's a little, it's supposed to be a floppy disk. It's a square shape. That's a quick access button where you can click on that to save after you do so many things. Now, when we open this up, and these are all in your step-by-step instructions, as you can see, this screen is split and it's almost like a four-way mirror image, and they're just showing you how you can fool around with your different viewing options, and they're just going to ask you to go over here and click on this split so you can turn that split off. And then they're going to take you into these freeze panes. So it'll ask you to position yourself, and then you're going to go over and freeze a pane. Now, freezing a pane, what it does, it locks in these column titles. So when you're scrolling down, you know what this category is related to. It's related to the color. So you can see row 3 never changes, but all the others will be able to scroll as you're moving up or down. So once we freeze these panes, they want you to go down to this row 31, and it's going to ask you to click on E31, and we know it's E31 based on these being grayed out. And when we click on that cell, you'll see it appear up here in this name box where my mouse pointer is. So once we position there, we want to double click to go into editing mode, and we're going to delete that 0 out and press the number 3 and press enter to accept that change. So they're showing you how to move around and create a change within your worksheet. Next, they're going to ask you just to click on this 100% button. That's just to show you how you can change your screen zoom in a click of a button, but there's other ways of zooming in and out. And there's also something down, and I don't have it in my frame, but I'll just put it there. So there's something also down there at the right-hand corner also. All right, so next they're going to ask you to unfreeze, get rid of this freeze. So you just go back to the same menu item and just click on unfreeze pane, and then that will remove that. So they're asking us to go back onto A1. Once we're back on A1, we're going to do a spelling check. So you're going to go to your Review tab and the very first command button. Now you can see that hiking, it repeats itself several times here from row 4 down to, and let me just blow this up so you can see. So it runs from row 4 down to row 11. So we can go ahead and say, oh, we'd like to accept that change, so it'll include a G. So we're going to say change all. And then you can see all of them updated, and you just click, do you want to continue check-in? And it's saying, okay, we're good to go. There's nothing else that's been misspelled. So that's what you're going to work on in number 4. Now, number 5, it's going to teach you about a fill handle. So the importance to understand, whenever you're clicking on a cell, your mouse pointer can change to 3 different symbols. Now, if it's a symbol that looks like this with the arrowheads, that means you can click and move it. It's like a cut and paste feature. If you have it, I always put it in the center of my cell and I end up getting this white cross. That means that will highlight. So the other mouse pointer change would be if you go over top of, and it's kind of hard to see, but if you see there's a green square down here in the bottom right hand corner, when we convert that to a black cross, that'll give us an opportunity to copy formulas down. Because if we double click, like we haven't learned how to do this yet, behind the scenes is an actual formula. Just like if we have a calculator, when we're pressing the numbers, 2 times 4, and it returns just a number 8. Same thing, when you press enter, it'll just return the value. So in number 4, all they're doing is trying to get you to understand how to use this fill handle. So you can either use a click and drag approach, or if you just double click on it, it knows when to stop. It'll recognize where the last line of information, and it won't go to an empty cell. So it just knows where to stop. And you can see when you double click all the way down, it's just copied that formula, but it adjusts itself based on the row. Because when you're up here, and let me press escape. When you're up here, you can see it's in row 4, and then always press escape before you click on the next one when you're working with formulas. And if I double click here, you can see it corresponds to its row, which is E10 and G10. So we're going to get into that more in detail as we move into these chapters. But for right now, all we're going to do is now, it's going to, whenever it asks you to press the control key and home key on your keyboard, all that's do is quickly getting you up to A1. It's taking you to home position, which is good to know if we have, maybe we have 10 worksheets, 10 pages full. It's always nice to be able to press control home just to get position back to the top of your spreadsheet. Now we're going to go to this page layout tab, and we have themes. Now there's themes that can be applied, and themes are based on your font style and a color scheme. So you can, and as you can see, there's displays of all these different styles, and as I hover, you can see the text in the background that's changing, and you won't see the colors until you apply a color scheme. Now they just want us to select this ion and apply that. So that changes that theme, and that's number 6. Now we're going to go to number 7, and we're going to start learning how to format our worksheet. So they're going to ask us to merge and center. You can only do one row at a time. So when you read it as A1 colon to J1, that means with your white mouse, your white cross, you're going to, not the black, make sure it's not black, make sure it's a white cross. You're going to click and drag over to the column J. Make sure you're on your home tab. And then you're going to click on the button, and it becomes one long active cell, and it centers the text, and it knows that range based on what you highlighted. So let's do it again with row 2. We're going to, with our white mouse pointer, just like that, we're going to highlight down to J, and we're going to go up here and click on the button and turn it on. Now the other things, we have some pre-designed styles that we can apply, and they're going to show us when we're up here on the title and we're on the home tab and you see this cell style button, it's showing us that when we open up this drop down list, there's this title style. So we're going to apply the title style to the title. And we're going to go down to the subtitle, and it's going to let you know when you read your instructions in number 8. It's going to tell you what to apply. Now this next one, it wants us to apply this heading 4 style to the subtitle. So if you ever mess up, you need to go over here and clear out the formats, and then go back over to the cell style and try again. So you can't overlap it by just clicking on a different button. You got to clear out the format first, then reapply it. All right, so now they're going to ask us, once we have this style change, we're just going to change it to a point size of 14, so it's larger font. And then we're going to go ahead, now we're going to change our row height. So you can hover over this one over here on the left side and hold down your mouse pointer and drag it to 2. So that way you can change the row height at the same time. So on a home tab, going over here to the format tab, we're going to go over here and select row height. Once we have our row height, we're just going to enter it in, which is 22. So we enter the number 22 and select OK, and you can see that has changed. Now we're going to go and we're going to select from A3 colon to J3, which is all of that. So A to J in row 3. And we're going to go back to the cell styles. And there's this yellow that they want us to apply, which is down here. And they want us to, the light yellow 40% dash accent 3. So it's the second one down. So when I click on that, you can see that it changes the appearance, but it also wants us to apply bold. And then, again, this is all 8, and right now I just went from 8 H and I. Now it wants us to go J, and it's saying, okay, well, let's click on this number 3 over here to the left. That way we can go ahead and change the row height for that particular row. And when we open that up, we're going to change it to just type right over top 21 and select OK. And you can see now we have more row height in row 3. Now we're going to go to quickly at the set of instructions. Instead of using this, you can use whatever way you would like with the row height, but they were just showing you that if you notice my mouse pointer, when I drag it below the 3, and you can see it changes its character, and if you hold down, you'll see now I have height and in the parentheses. So you can use it also using a click and drag approach to change it, but sometimes it might be hard to get it exact. So that's why I always recommend just to highlight and go over here and then type in your row height, which is 21. So you can see I have a 21.4. So I couldn't click and drag exactly. So I just like typing it in. All right, so I only have 15 minutes per video, so probably going to have to finish off. We're almost done, but I'm going to probably need another 5 or 10 minutes on part 2 video. So before I do that, the last set of instructions, it's just asking me to zoom back out. And then when we move over to number 9, I think maybe this is where I'm going to pick it up on the next video.